to overtime. Dwayne Wade right at the body of Anderson Varejao. Welcome to your Kodak moment, Anderson Varejao.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer!
Actually, let me say one quick thing about the NBA before we move on. The NBA Finals ratings are way down. And, right-wing media and whatever else would like to have you think that it's because of the political protest. And the 3OT is not one for, political statements. We know that we exist for sports. And while we have our own personal beliefs for sports do not outweigh what this radio show was founded on, which was reporting and opinionated pieces. But I think it's important to say something when it really does relate to sports and really means something. Because there's a lot of misinformation in the world. And we try to work around it. We try to report what is right. And when we have a, false fact that we may have spread, we talk about it and we apologize and all of that. And the NBA ratings are down. Statistically speaking, they are down significantly. Game 2 was the least watched finals game, I think, maybe ever. Could be since the turn of the century. It's been a long time since you've had less than 2 million people watching an NBA finals game. And there's a lot of people that would like to tell you that, look, it's political. Once you add politics into sports, people will stop watching. And that could not be further from the truth. The playoffs are all about atmosphere. In every sport, it's all about atmosphere. In the NFL, it's about hearing the home team and, seeing the celebrations in the end zone. Randy Moss mooning the crowd would not have been the same if it weren't for a crowd being there to boo him, and if it weren't for the announcers to go crazy and call it a despicable act, which is still kind of hilarious looking back. But the NBA playoffs wouldn't have been the same if the entire Raptors arena didn't lose it when Kawhi hit his shot. And we had something similar with Luka hitting his shot, but it was different somehow. It was quieter. And playoff basketball and the playoff intensity does not just come from the players. It comes from the fans and the arena and the shaking rafters and the insanity when someone hits a shot or when someone goes on a run. The ratings aren't down because of, stands for social justice. I think they're actually being, I don't think it changes much there. The ratings are down because 2020 is such an insane year that people don't want to sit down and watch sports. They don't want to, act like the world is okay. And when they do watch. But if the intensity isn't there, it just reminds them of the lack of normalcy. And I think what all of the US and maybe all of the world is looking for right now is a sense of normalcy. And that's hard to find. And we look for that in sports sometimes. And with the NFL, they're pumping in artificial noise, so they're doing a little better. But the NBA has a full bubble. And in their full bubble, they don't have fans. And it's been fun basketball to watch because players are hitting so many more shots. But it is still not the same without fans. And you can't forget that. Because that is probably the most important variable of this whole bubble. Genuinely. And ignoring that is delusional. And trying to change something like that into your political message is exactly what I think is wrong with the US. But I'm trying to be a sports journalist. I'm not just trying to be a reporter yelling at you what my opinions are. Because I don't believe in that. I believe everyone has their opinion and everyone can state what they want, but ignoring variables and ignoring different facts and not giving the full story is morally irreprehensible. Reprehensible. Thank you very much, brain. And on that note, I hope the rest of the media can do better, and I hope we get to the point where, you know, a 20-year-old like journalism student on a campus with with very few listeners doesn't have to rant about the fact that the NBA is not falling apart, and that certain, you know, as a certain president would say, fake news is blowing stuff out of proportion. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about, you know, storylines in the NBA, the NFL, what player did what, who do we see doing better going forward. And I'm saying right now we all need to do better going forward. Because misinformation is the enemy of all.